Hello everyone, welcome to the QuesterMage, a mage's quest to talk about games. That's what we'd like to do here, talk about games. If that's what you like, please click the like button, the subscribe button, and that notification bell for more of our content in the future. Thank you very much. In today's video I want to talk about what is the SNK Neo Geo Mini, but specifically the international version. The reason I say the international version is because that's the version that I own. There are other model variants, like the Japanese version. The Samurai Shodown series has the Haomaru version, the Kuroko version, the Nakaruru version, and the Ukiyo version. These variants look different and have different game lists. As I only own the international version of this mini arcade console, this video is based on that version only. Overall, I am quite happy with this machine and it is one of my favourite mini plug and play consoles. Let's take a look at some of the details and features of this mini arcade console. It stands at 16cm tall, 11cm wide, and 14cm in depth. The Neo Geo Mini comes with the mini arcade console itself, a good quality 3.5-inch screen, a light up arcade stick, only for the international version, a marquee which you can apply stickers to, unfortunately it does not light up, stereo sound, a headphone slot, 40 games included, that's 40 games included, an SNK branded USB-B to USB-C cable, unfortunately with no power brick, and an HDMI out, which displays at 720p. There are also control pads which you can buy separately for this machine in various colour variants. Here are the main two colour variants on screen now. If you are wondering, the control pads do not have microswitches in the analog stick, and the arcade stick itself on the unit also does not have microswitches. Yes, the buttons on a pad and the unit are in a different layout to the AES. The AES having the C, D, A, B layout, the Neo Geo Mini controller having the A, C, B, D layout. The Neo Geo Mini itself also sports the A, C, B, D layout. In a similar fashion to the MVSX Home Arcade, the Neo Geo Mini includes a large quantity of officially licensed titles. As I mentioned before, 40 in total, that's 40. The games list is big and is as follows. You get 5 games from the King of Fighters series, that's King of Fighters 95, King of Fighters 97, King of Fighters 98, King of Fighters 2000, King of Fighters 2002, 6 Metal Slug games, that's from 1 to 5 and X included, 3 Samurai Shodown games, that's Samurai Shodown 2, Samurai Shodown 4, and Samurai Shodown 5 Special. 3 Fatal Fury games, that's Fatal Fury Special, Real Bout Fatal Fury, and Garou Mark of the Wolves. These are also accompanied by World Heroes Perfect, and Art of Fighting, Sengoku 3, Magician Lord, The Last Blade 2, Kizuna Encounter or Savage Rain, Shock Troopers 2nd Squad, The King of Monsters 1, The King of Monsters 2, Blues Journey, Robo Army, and finally Cross Swords, Mutation Nation, 3 Count Bout, Ninja Masters, Top Players Golf, Super Sidekicks, Football Frenzy, Blazing Star, Last Resort, Ghost Pilots, and Puzzled. Again, I think that's a good list of games. So this unit also features dip switch style settings. The mini arcade console has some dip switch style settings, but usually in the games themselves. In some games you can choose between the AES and MVS modes, that's just going from console mode to arcade mode, and this changes up the difficulty settings. In tabletop mode, if you can call it that, you have access to the following options. You have 9 different languages, the sort option, which allows you to sort your games via the default or the recently played, 4 levels of brightness, 5 levels of sound, and a return to default settings mode. You do not have any options to change the screen size or add any screen filters. Not that it would need any, but it is worth mentioning, I think. In TV mode, you have access to, again, the languages, the 9 different languages, the sort by default or recently played. You have 4 different screen options which aren't actually labelled, but basically they are the pixel perfect mode, a stretch to screen, a vertical shrink, and vertical stretch. You use 2 of these every time. So here are some examples of these which I'll put up on screen. So as you can see here, this is Metal Slug with the vertical shrink in Pixel Perfect, and the vertical shrink with stretch to screen. And here we have the vertical stretch with Pixel Perfect, and a vertical stretch with stretch to screen. Now we also have the image quality optimization. It puts a filter on top of the game, so it gives it some sort of ink effect, if you will. Here are some examples of this. Here's the image quality optimization turned off, and here's the image quality optimization turned on. Weirdly, when capturing this footage, I noticed that the vertical size of the screen increased when this feature is turned on. I don't actually know why, but that's actually how it captured. So let's see that with another image to see if we can see that a little bit clearer. Here's the image quality optimization off, and here's the image quality optimization turned on. And of course, the last setting for TV mode is the same as the tabletop mode, if you will, the return to default settings. So let's go through some improvements that I think could be made to this machine. Micro switches in the arcade stick. So I'm actually going to talk about this in the next section, but I do think it's important enough that I mention it here because I do think this is an improvement that should be made. Better button quality. Now the buttons are basically just little bits of plastic that you press up and down. They work absolutely fine, but I do think that the button quality should have been a little bit better. TV mode graphics options. TV mode graphics options, which I'll be talking about again in the next segment, but I did think it's important enough to put in the improvements as well. A fighter heavy games list. So a very similar problem to the MVSX, very fighter heavy on this machine. The games list is missing some key games, I think, like Puzzle Bubble and Baseball Stars. I really like Baseball Stars, it was a shame it wasn't on this machine. And Puzzle Bubble, again, I know it will need a different license, but I think it will be worth it as it will make the gamers happy. An internal battery, which I think should have been in the machine, or at least a SNK branded battery pack, which we could have bought that fits the machine perfectly. The use of mini HDMI. Now this was very weird to me, I don't understand why they went with mini HDMI. For me this wasn't that big of an issue as I already had a HDMI to mini HDMI cable, and I also have a HDMI to mini HDMI adapter. But if you don't have any of these, you will not be able to play this mini arcade console on your TV. You will need to buy a mini HDMI to HDMI cable or an adapter. I think they could have eliminated this problem from the beginning by just putting in a normal HDMI slot. The sound volume in tabletop mode can be a bit loud. As I said earlier, there are 5 levels of volume on this machine. If I was to name them, it would be number 1, very quiet, 2, quiet, 3, balanced-ish, 4, quite loud, and 5, very loud. I think the steps 4 and 5 should be lower in volume. I think the volume in these steps are okay during the day, but far too loud in the evening. So I would have preferred something like very quiet, quiet, balanced, loud, and then quite loud. Not the worst thing, as you do have a 3.5mm headphone jack, and you can just plug in a speaker or something like that. But it would have been nice for the volume to be more balanced in tabletop mode from the beginning. Also, scan lines are missing. I don't understand why, they just are. Nowhere to be seen on the machine, a little bit weird for a plug and play machine that's trying to emulate an arcade machine. Now moving on to the issues. TV mode. The image filter. Now like I said earlier, we're going to talk about this topic again, so here we are. The machine itself does not have an option to turn on or off image smoothing. Unfortunately in TV mode, by default the developers of the machine have already applied a filter to the image. In tabletop mode, the image looks good and really clear and crisp, but in TV mode it does look a little bit blurry. This was probably done to make the image look better, but I don't think it actually does. Again, give players the options to allow them to decide. Not a massive issue for me, but I can see the blurring when I play. No internal battery. Again, I understand that this is predominantly a plug and play device designed to be used with a TV. But I do think it would have been a better selling point if you would have had a rechargeable battery inside the machine. The user could play games on the go if they wish to do so, or at least not have to power the machine when playing on the TV. It just makes the machine that much more versatile. Micro switches. When I first took the machine out of the box, the first thing that I done was test the analog stick. And I did notice immediately that it did not have micro switches, and this was a little bit of an issue. There just should have been micro switches in this machine to make it feel more authentic, especially as the game list is fighter heavy. Again, this is an homage to an arcade machine, so not having micro switches, it is weird. Does it affect the playability? A little bit, yes. Is it perfectly playable? I personally think it is. I do play it in tabletop mode absolutely fine, and I play it in TV mode absolutely fine as well. It's just you do notice that the micro switches are not there. So what do you all think about the SNK Neo Geo Mini? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? How would you change it? Please leave your impression down in the comment section. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for clicking on this video again and for visiting the channel. If you do like what we do here, please click like, subscribe, and click that notification bell for more of our content in the future. And until then, thanks again.